I need healing.
And our first day of Overwatch League preseason here in the Blizzard Arena has already delivered some spicy delicacies in terms of results. And who would have thought, man, if I'd stood here, be telling you that San Francisco Shock are looking down the barrel of a 2-0 start to this preseason. What you have said?
They've looked great today. I would have been surprised, right? I mean, this is a team we know have a decent amount of talent, some really good players, you know, coming in later in the season, right, with Super and Sinatra.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
but
the best players potentially on this team aren't even in the roster yet,
right.
by the way.
And,
So
and
how
to
do you
see
like
them
that?
playing this well, that's amazing if you're a San Francisco Shock fan. And we see some subs coming in for the Los Angeles Valiant. They're going to bring the two players they subbed out right back in. So you're going to see Soon and Kareev jump right back in for this potential final map.
Right, it's going to be an interesting one. I think it will be Numbani, actually,
Yes.
for our final map. We'll have that compared in just a moment. But let's have a look at a player I want to highlight because he's made such a ridiculous transition between roles over his time as an Overwatch professional. It's Nevix. We saw him playing the flex tank role, and on a map like Ilios, the picks like your Divas and your Winstons are so important. This was really impressive from him there. He was really a part of these fights. 9 deaths for 35 eliminations. He's tagging out a lot of people. And again, Div is the kind of hero that can give you that kind of stat where your damage blocked and your hero damage done are quite close. Normally your damage done is significantly less.
Well, I think with the upgrades to D.Va, right, where she has the salvo missiles now, and she's able to put down a ton of damage, it's kind of changed the way you play D.Va a little bit. Usually with in the past with how strong defense matrix was, we're able to eat up a lot of ultimates, peel off the back line, take a lot of pressure off. Now you're actually going in, putting a lot of pressure on the other team.
Right, so there's a lot going on there. Let's have a look at our maps as well. Perhaps a look back and a quick look forward. Numbani is going to be our final map of this series, and the reason why I'm enjoying this so much, first of all, big Widow players on either side of this roster, but also Soon and Unco. I mean, this is a map for them when they were under that all-French roster in Rogue that they were really good on. And in fact, they really started to innovate the way the map was played. I'm excited to see how, this team that was Immortals, the basis of Immortals, now built in to become the Los Angeles Valiant, will take to this particular map.
I think, you have to listen to these guys, Soon and Unco, when it comes to this map in terms of strategy and how to play it. On that Rogue lineup, they were almost impossible to beat on this map. They were very good. And I think, the one thing I'm most surprised about, I guess, with the Los Angeles Valiant today, is Monty was talking a little bit about it on the desk, was that with their frontline players, Fate and Envy, how much better they have looked, more comfortable than they did during the contender season. You saw a lot of weird plays from them during the contender season.
Sure.
Like, fight is definitely over. Here comes a grab into the corner, gets nobody. You've seen them play very good today.
We raised this issue with Cuddles, the coach of the Valiant. We said, look, we kind of knew that, amongst, players like Envy on this team, he maybe didn't have the best performance in contenders and was a bit listless and maybe a little bit anemic, and he wasn't always in position where the team needed him. He just looks me, stares me down and he says, yeah, look, you would be surprised how much he's worked on. I'm not surprised anymore, and maybe I shouldn't have been at all, but it's interesting to see now him move into this team so much more, as a cohesive unit. Now, will we see him play the Widowmaker here? I'd say it's fairly unlikely. That will be fun, but I don't think Soon would ever lower himself to playing Torb on this map of attack.
And I tell you what, if the Los Angeles Valiant can get their tanks on the same page, you have some fantastic DPS players, right? When Agilities can come into the lineup, Agilities and Soon will be scary. Tracer Genji combo. You have Silk Thread, who's looked very good today. And then, oh, by the way, Kareev and Unco, two very good flex supports, can kind of bounce off each other, depending on what they want to play. This could be a very, very good Los Angeles Valiant team.
I'm excited, Matt. I'm expected. And I've got the jitters, but that's something else entirely. It's going to be the San Francisco Shock to set up on the high ground here. So we are going to see 76ers from both teams. So a style that maybe indicates a little bit more slow and positional play, wanting to try and use vantage points and just work those enemy tanks down. We're going to see if Silverthread can actually get a position to get those picks. He does send in the Helix Rocket, and Baby Base take it quite low. The Shock are going to fold around to the right, but this is going to work in favor of Fate and Envy, who kind of want the enemy team just to be all in one clump.
And they've jumped up to that high ground, and then they cut down. They actually had Soon flanking all the way from the left-hand side to see if they can kind of divert maybe some players down, leave a support up on top for San Francisco, catch them off guard, but it's going to be Sleepy on the Ana here. This is the first time I believe we're seeing Ana get one. It'll be Soon answering back, though. Takes out Dante.
Sleepy's getting fairly close to a nano boost here, so if he survives long enough, it might actually be a nano visor here for the San Francisco Shock to turn this fight back around, but it's looking pretty bad right now. Not a great start. First of all, they lost Dante. It was a 1v1 Tracer matchup, and Soon is very good at winning those now. It is going to be the first point taken And the Valiant push through.
And they use the nano boost and they use the tac visor there. And Baby Bay is getting pushed back, gets the nano boost, uses the tac visor.
Yeah, you switch Zen here anyway, so you don't want the nano.
You saw Fate though, it was actually a very nice play from Fate and Envy. Fate jumped on top of him right away, put down the Winston bubble, forced Baby Bay forward, and then as soon as he gets out of the Winston bubble, Envy just got right in his face with the defense matrix. So we talked about, if the Valiant can get both of their tanks on the same page, you're starting to see them work a little bit better together.
Tactical Visor, however, is available for Silk Thread. He hasn't opted to switch off this pick, although Baby Bay is now representing on the McCree. Again, he's going to have to play a little bit more, I guess, closer to the action. He's going to be pressured heavily by Silk Thread. But Los Angeles Valley are going to pull out here. They lost Fate. They know that with lacking their initiator in these fights, where there are such long distances to cover, to get onto the enemy backline, it's better off just to wait for the Monkey to make his re-emergence.
Los Angeles Valiant have a ton of ultimates here, Mitch, to take control of this next fight. Push the payload on forward. You have both support ults and you have the tac visor. Envy getting pretty low on the payload, does have the self-destruct. It'll be the self-destruct coming in from both divas, forcing everybody out of the way. It'll be Fate that falls here. It's going to allow Kareem to put the Valkyrie. Can he get to him to arrest?
Perfect timing. Silk Thread knows he gets the D-suit on Nevix, and it's time to go for the tactical visor. Nevix is taken down as soon as he gets out of his mech, and Nomi can't do much, even though he had the primal rage. Silk Thread's tack is done, but he's in a good position now to press forward. Those close quarters, that underpass that San Francisco are absconding through would have made them quite vulnerable to subsequent Helix rockets, but they weren't required. Los Angeles only needs the one pick or so to win the fight, and now the Shock have to throw themselves up this checkpoint here to keep it alive.
It's going to be the Deadeye that comes out. Fate immediately jumps right on top of Baby Bay, puts down the Winston bubble. It's going to be forced to cancel a Deadeye back out a little bit. The Valiant also have their Transcendence here if they want to use it. Uncle actually gets hit with the Pulse Bomb, then is forced to pop that Transcendence.
Double trans over on the point there, almost as nice as double rainbows, or double rainbows if you ask Monty or Dole. Regardless, Silk Thread now, again in the back lines, close to yet another tactical visor. See that brought to bear in just a moment because Nevix got de-suited. He realizes now he can only just stall for a few quiet seconds before Embrace of Death is his. Quick res for Kareem to keep soon back up, but that's going to be it. San Francisco don't get much done on that attempt at retake.
And Dak is on the payload there, just trying to dance around as the Mercy soon hits him with a Pulse Bomb as soon as he gets Valkyrie, so not able to use Valkyrie in that fight. Potentially San Francisco, they wanted to invest it there. Could have potentially held them before they get to point B, but you do have it if you're the San Francisco Shock coming into the next fight. See the payload being worked around the corner here from the Los Angeles Valiant. They do have the self-destruct. It's a very good ultimate in this area of the map to force the other team around the corner and potentially move that payload around.
Silk Thread's getting so much done on the 76 so far. Envy actually is going to get taken down by Dunta's Pulse Bomb just as he starts to eject from the mech. So good timing from Dunta to make sure he secured that particular kill. Nevix hits a double with that self-destruct, and that definitely will be the red light for Los Angeles Valley. Now time to back away. Silk Thread finds a pick. Dante has found himself getting caught in some of his compromising positions thus far, but still it may not amount to much. Los Angeles don't have the players to exacerbate that man advantage.
It's really the first hold here from the San Francisco Shock as take a replay look, and Nevix is 2K there with the self-destruct, but the Baby's put down 39% of the team's damage so far this half. And the guy just needs some help, right? You can see how the Valiant are just moving the payload on forward. After a while, you can't rely on one guy for that long.
Yeah, that's huge. 40% of his team's damage. Oh, I mean, Dunta's on the Tracer and has had trouble getting into the backline. We're hearing a Deadeye being used in the background right now, and a Transcendence wouldn't save the Los Angeles Valiant from that, but they break line of sight and get back around the corner, knowing the threat of Baby Bay is extreme. Silk Thread, though, has himself a tactical visor once again. I feel like I've said this so many times this game. He's been doing a lot of damage himself. Dante almost gets caught out there, but Dak going down. That's going to be the ghost signal. Silk Thread comes in now. Not much healing left for San Francisco Shock to keep themselves alive. And Nevix is going to get lapped up. And again, a hasty recall from Dante to stay out of the fight. He can't even stall, though. Kasoon hunts him down and guns him down. That's going to be it. Los Angeles get to the end of the map, and 2 minutes 44 seconds is a very, very respectable time bank to have in reserve.
Looks like the Rogue guys gave some of their secrets over to the Los Angeles Valiant here on Numbani, completing the map. 2 minutes and plus in the time bank. A very good offensive effort there from the Los Angeles Valiant. And Silk Thread's been a player who's been very good this series. I think, big question mark for this LA Valiant team coming in. Younger player, kind of take a, not as much as a gamble, right? But he's a player you kind of pick up, invest in for the future. Looks like he's ready now.
Good showing on his debut, there's no doubt about it. He himself has done like a good 30% of the damage on his team there as well, so you can see that he's had a good involvement in a lot of these fights, but this particular matchup, especially now that we're into the last map, and especially now with how vertical this map pool has actually been, if you think about it, back over the map, we've had Junkertown, we've also had Horizon. I'm super interested in watching how these tanks play, right? Your Envies, your Fates, your Nomis, and your Nevixes. By the way, like Nomi, for example, a player that, you know, no one really expected to be such a mainstay here. Obviously, if you ask, you know, Monty, he didn't really have that much, you know, gracious things to perhaps say about the player.
Positive.
Yeah, and that's reasonable because we hadn't seen it for so long, but he was also playing on a team he had never been with before. But Nomi said to me very clearly, he said, I'm just not surprised that people are, you know, are not expecting me to do much. I mean, that's entirely reasonable, logically speaking. But he came here to play, and it's been good to watch how he synergizes with Nevix. It also helps that they both obviously can speak English, and there's no sort of split there.
And for a player like Nomi, I imagine, you know, the pressure and, you know, just everything that comes with playing in the Overwatch League, you know, increases your focus, increases your practice, you know, you eliminate some of those mistakes, and you come in and, you know, you're just a better player. You're a more complete player. Now, we'll see. The San Francisco Shock can complete Nabani, as they will now be on offense. Now, for the Valiant, you know, just to go back to Silk Thread real quick, just one more thing. I feel like, you know, his ultimates have been timed perfectly. Remember on Horizon when he held on that Dragon Blade for just the right time? Same on, you know, Junkertown had that great Dragon Blade towards the end. You know, some nice tack visors there in the first half. I feel like you've definitely seen a lot of nice patience come out when using those ults.
I like this approach to the point here. There's no Junkrat for Los Angeles, unsurprisingly. So San Francisco aren't really going to be punished by trying to take the low road here. It allows them to get to the point essentially undetected. Let them get very close to their prize before their opponents really know what's happening. They're also working this high ground here. Baby Bay, there's a lot going on the screen for him. He knows he needs to back away. There's Tesla guns, there's big bubbles being thrown down. But Envy gets the D-suit on Nevix first. That's a big bonus for Los Angeles. It's going to be a little bit of pressure relief now, especially now Envy goes back in for Nevix. Man, this player, Envy's really been doing some work.
I feel like for the San Francisco Shock, you're trying to push this high ground, maybe getting their Nevix, maybe trying to get Fate or Envy up to the high ground. You know, you can get the D-Mech or you can take the enemy Winston out, then you maybe force Kareev out of position, and you're able to get another pick, but just not worked out.
So again, it's a war of attrition up on the high ground here. It's all about San Francisco trying to get enough of an advantage to push forward with, and that might just be it. Fate goes down, but he's rezzed pretty quickly by Kareev to get him back up in the fight. But Baby Bay's tactical visor might be the great equalizer in this situation. He's going to sit back in his room. He actually has a Zenyatta back into his left. He doesn't realize that Unko is so out of position. Sitting behind him, they're probably going to try and throw some balls there. Sleepy's also with Baby Bay at the moment now. They're going to pressure into the low ground. Dak going down means that Baby Bay has to get the heck out of dodge. Nothing really got for the tactical visor. San Fran weren't in position to use a lot of those ultimates effectively. They were fighting way off the point.
You're going to see the Primal Rage come out here as well. Sleepy takes out both supports here for the San Francisco Shock. So maybe they're able to keep this fight going, extend it in their favor. Silk Thread will fall, Envy will fall as well, as San Francisco is bringing this fight back.
2 ticks and it's going to be 3. So they're going to have the first point taken now. And they're going to be on the road. 4 minutes and 30 to get to that next one. So a little bit of back and forth. So we can almost go back and review the timeline of how they tried to make this happen. This is a good chance to do it. So this is Sleepy. This is the Zenyatta, by the way, that I thought was behind. The outline was a little bit hard for me to see, but 2 quick picks for him. Both supports getting taken down. So even while he's frantically throwing shapes there on that Zenyatta, he finds both enemy supports and deals with them.
He's been fantastic on Zenyatta today. You know, a player that comes in, you know, previously just on Tempo Storm. You know, nobody knows a lot about him. Definitely has turned some heads on the Zenyatta as San Francisco Shock. They'll continue to move the payload. Here comes a self-destruct coming in from Nevix. Doesn't connect with anything. The Transcendence comes out here from Unko. It's soon with a Pulse Bomb on Anomi, as it's going to be Dante returning a Pulse Bomb to the enemy Winston. It's going to be Dak using that res, bringing the Winston back into the fight.
Got 6v4 for San Francisco Shock right now, and finally Los Angeles starts to even the ledger a little bit, but Baby Bay is going to be able to catch Kareev out. He really had nowhere to go. The attack visor was sprung on him inside an enclosed space that he couldn't quite escape from. You see, Baby Bay there was actually hoping to try and, you know, take Envy out of the picture before he had a chance to resuit up the self-destruct, but he realized that he had to get out himself, otherwise he would surely perish to the blast.
He got Silk Thread pretty weak there, decides not to go and challenge. Envy still on the payload here, so just stalling this out, right? The Valiant, you're just trying to just waste as much as the clock as possible here. And then potentially, you know, you've already completed the map, right? As much time as you can waste here in the second phase of the map, the better, but it's gonna be Baby Bay taken out soon, as the payload is still moving in favor of the San Francisco Shock. They've earned themselves a Valkyrie here, and they have a Pulse Bomb. See if the Valiant come out and try and challenge the card again.
I mean, I'd like them to try at least to cruise some more ultimate percentage for themselves, because they don't have a lot, especially not much of the support ultimate department. They are going to drop down, they are going to keep it contained. contested here, so they are going to force San Francisco to fight for this one. But soon, getting the pulse bomb, DC or Nevix and the killer Nomi might be the difference maker. Dunter responds, though, when he finds a Mercy, he gets the stick. That's a huge response here from Dunter on that Tracer, who had a little bit of a quiet earlier round and kind of struggled at the end of that last round. Now starting to come into his own. Transcendence dropped down. Dunter knows that none of his damage is going to stick for the time being. And San Francisco want to get this payload across, but Los Angeles are taking up position. They're taking control. Self-destruct is going to be there, or at least an attempt to do so. But no, it won't be the case. Dunter with 2. Or at least 1 in the D-suit. That'll be another checkpoint for San Francisco.
Yeah, the Los Angeles Valiant, they used both of their support ults there, and then the San Francisco Shock, they just back up a little bit, just wait that Transcendence from Unko out, and then Baby Bay comes in with the tack visor, sends players kind of scrambling for the Valiant all over the cart. We're able to take them out, advance the payload a little bit further here. Let's see what the Shock have to work with. You're getting very close here towards the self-destruct. Potentially you could use that, throw it around the corner, create some space.
I mean, and another pulse bomb is available right now for Dunter. That's huge. 2 pulse bombs in consecutive fights. Last time he picked up a Mercy, this time could even be better, but he may not even choose to elect, he might not elect to use it here because Silk Thread has already found 2 picks. Yeah, it's going to be Los Angeles actually be able to breathe a sigh of relief, but they're going to back up. No, Baby Bay gets the pick and realizes this might be the opening they're looking for, but Unko shuts the door in his face rather quickly with a salvo with that right click. Soon and Unko now being pressed up by Karif means the numbers are very much in favor of the Los Angeles Valiant, and San Francisco need to take a seat.
It's a nice kill there from Unko. He's going to have Transcendence for this next fight as well.
Which is big, because in 2 fights, they would have used a Valkyrie and then a Transcendence. Great for stalling, to have like have support ultimates staggered out across 2 fights like that. It's really handy.
Now you have your own tack visor. If you're the Valiant, you're going to have a lot of ultimates here on the board. Pretty much everything outside of Valkyrie. So we'll see how they decide to use some of these. It looks like potentially that was a pulse bomb with a recall where it didn't connect and then you ended up right on top of it. So that's how Dante ends up dying.
Baby Bay backing up. There's a bubble, this wave. It's going to be Sleepy with the headshot on towards soon. Again, finding those key targets. And Yada's already starting to highlight this particular matchup, Matt. But Baby Bay's going to work the low ground for now. It's more than happy to sit in the back line. The self-destruct is going to buy the Los Angeles Valiant some time, but it's not going to buy them an advantage in this fight. They're going to have to dig deep before it. But Fate goes deep and then gets completely knocked out of the fight. Baby Bay deals with it comfortably. The damage was there, and Sleepy has a Transcendence to push into this next fight. Unko, does he have a chance to trans? He will. If he had to, probably have to use it to stall though on this point. It's going to have to be very quick. San Francisco are close to the finish line. There's the Transcendence though. A chance for Los Angeles to set up and stall that a little bit more. But they might need to get back to the payload here. It's less than 1 meter away from finishing, and no! They overcommit. Los Angeles, they go to the back line, but what they should have been doing, Matt, is sitting on the payload, stalling things out, waiting for the rest of their teammates.
Yeah, Nevix throws his Diva Mech up into the sky. He's able to take out Silk Thread while he's using the tack visor. So it will be the San Francisco Shock completing the map as well. I believe just like 1 minute and 40 seconds left in their time bank. It's not as good of time as the Los Angeles Valiant, but still they were able to make it work there towards the end.
So these 2 teams are playing essentially very similar compositions on this map. It's a Tracer in 76 with the Winston Diva, and then you have a Mercy in Zenyatta. This is, in my opinion, the safest, definitely the most standard composition in Overwatch as we know it now. But we have noticed that Sleepy on defense had played Ana on that first run through. I wouldn't know how much success it really had. I think they actually won the first fight or so, but it looks like he's opting to stick back to the Zen for a bit more lethality.
I mean, he was able to build up to the Nano pretty quick, but by the time he did, they were pretty much out of the fight. And then they used the Nano, and they used the tack visor there, so it didn't really work out. I would love to see Sleepy play the Zenyatta again. I think, just the way he's been shooting on the Zenyatta just provides so much extra damage for this Shock lineup.
The problem with Nano Boost as well is that if the target you're investing your ultimate into doesn't get anything done and also use their ultimates, you're wasting 2
for 0,
instead of 1, right?
Right.
Because you're investing it in a player that can't get anything done with it, also having his own ultimate shut down. So as far as ultimate economy is concerned, it's not always the most equitable way to try and, get ahead in those fights. However, San Francisco Shock on the attack, they have to attack because they have less time on the clock, so they need to attack twice in a row, essentially. Nevix again looking for a target. Soon's found Dunter again, so that's going to be a bit of a red light at this stage. He might try and get a 1-for-1 and work with that, but it's going to be tough. Nevix is getting good healing from Dak now, but again, he's forced to return with the rest of his team. They need the Tracer to at least put some stress on the mental bandwidth of the Los Angeles Valiant.
And obviously your Tracer going into the enemy backline or just trying to put some pressure on the point does not die in a place where you could safely go in and get a res there. So you're going to have to wait the spawn to come through. It seems like the Shock a little bit hesitant on what they want to do here. So you actually had the tanks jump in behind Baby here, and now they're going to force some of the tanks for the Valiant down from the high ground, and he gets Kareev very weak, not able to finish him off.
Yeah, and that really hurts because with Fate and Soon finding kills of theirs, Kareev can just heal up, and now that damage just turns into ultimate percentage for the side of Los Angeles Valiant. And for Baby, he's probably getting a little bit frustrated. There's no easy answer as a 76 on a high ground. You usually are hoping that you're not the only one trying to take down your target, that your damage is just one part of getting the pick. But he can't really burst people down 100-0 now. He gets stuck with a pulse bomb. That's going to be pretty rough. He does get res though. Dak goes deep to try and get him back on his feet. They need the Tac Visor in the fight now, and it's going to try and make it work. Soon goes down. There was a transcendence there. And yeah, it's going to be keeping Baby nice and topped up as they make their way forward, but Soon's been brought back from the dead. He's resurrected to pressure around the backside of this fight. With Unco going down, that's a good advantage for San Francisco now. The healing is lacking on their opponent's side, but they've got Sleepy as well.
Yeah, it's a few kills that go in favor of San Francisco to be both self-destructs, and force players off of the point. But the San Francisco Shock picking up the kills right now. Fate just trying to stay alive with the Primal Rage as he's Soon so low on HP, just working around in the back. That'll be one tick here for San Francisco.
Perhaps the second to come up here as well. I don't think the Valiant have anyone to try and stall this one out any longer, and they will have to concede this first point. San Francisco keep themselves alive, they keep the game going, but take note, there is no time extension for getting a checkpoint now as we work into what we'll call the overtime phase of this match. Pulse bomb, get back on the payload. Okay. If San Francisco leave the payload for any reason, i.e. if no one's touching it, for like a second, the map's going to be over, or at least their round will be done. So things like that pulse bomb could really throw things on their head.
Are they able to take advantage of it though? The kill comes in, and now you're going to have Dak coming off the spawn. You see all the players here for the Valiant just trying to get on the payload, take advantage of that. No mercy death right at the beginning of this fight.
Envy and Fate getting one apiece, and this might be tough bickies for San Francisco right now. As Baby managed to find Fate and Dante trying to stay alive. Again, he can't really do damage so much as just try and keep himself scarce from a lot of the damage that's being thrown in his direction. But the kill feed's looking pretty darn good for the Los Angeles Valiant here. And although the San Francisco Shock spawned close, it's still not enough, as that payload, that overtime wick was burning down awfully quick by that point.
Now the Valiant have a decent amount of time to work with. They'd have to obviously take point A and then move the payload past where we saw the San Francisco Shock get it. There they have a little bit more time to do it. A little bit over 2 minutes, I believe 2 minutes and 44 seconds on the clock.
So when you're playing what I would call, you know, with air quotes here, a safer composition, a Tracer and a 76, it's good, it's robust, right? Both of your DPS players have their own form of self-healing. They can be, to a degree, fairly self-sufficient, and then you have healers that can help your frontline. The problem is that you don't have a lot of pick potential, right? You don't have a McCree to flash and burn someone down. You don't have a Widowmaker to pick someone off, right? So it becomes much more of a grind, much more of this, like, yeah, this war of attrition. And that's why you can see Baby getting quite frustrated, looking for these openings. Like, I need to try and get past their front line, relying on splitting San Francisco in two, to try and use the front line to take attention away from the enemy tanks and then try and get damage from the side.
You could see Baby, he was just trying to find an open window, right? I mean, he's trying to go on that top left-hand side high ground. Then he gets forced out from there from the tanks of the Valiant. Then he has to go towards that middle of the street. That's when he pops that Tac Visor.
And you can see the Baby has managed to get his tactical visors pretty fast. Now for 76, your ultimate generation rate is heavily linked to the damage you do. And I think also a little bit to the healing of the Bardic field. But Baby has done about 4k more damage. And he's got about 19.6k damage. So put that perspective, that's actually a fairly considerable increase. It's like an extra 25% damage on his opposite number. But they've also played an extra attacking round. So, yeah, you know, again, there's a lot of things to consider.
So we do see, from the Valiant perspective here on offense, they're trying to put some more pressure on the high ground. See Silk Thread on the bottom, both tanks up above him. He's trying to put a lot of shots into Nevix, trying to get a DMAC or a pick onto Nomi here.
Okay, Los Angeles, it's time to go. Ooh, he gets knocked back. Faye wanted to try and jump in there. I'm pretty sure it was Nevix that knocked him off course. That's pretty big, but Silk Thread was able to use the commotion and the confusion to find the pick on Nomi. However, it's almost a 1-for-1. Having lost Envy in that fight, now they don't have a Diva in the suit, but Silk Thread again gets on towards Dak. Silk Thread really turning up here. You can see he's got the space to do this because these tanks are doing what they're supposed to. They're getting in the front line and they're dealing with San Francisco. Silk Thread is more than happy to sit back and get damage done. Kareev needs to pop though. He needs to head in and get some resurrects, but he gets taken down by Nevix before he has the chance. So despite Silk Thread's valiant attempts, haha, I can only do it once a season. It's not going to be enough for Los Angeles.
And you wasted during the preseason.
Oh, I don't.
You could have saved that. But
no, it's not one of the ones you want to save because it's a cherry pick, you know?
True, it's too easy.
Get it out of the way, you know?
You did see the Valkyrie used there by Kareev. It's going to be a pulse bomb from Soon.
Wait a minute.
Did that not connect on the deck?
Unless there was a defense matrix off
That came
screen?
in the last second?
Okay. Not sure about that one, fam. Shall we continue? San Francisco now set up on the high ground again. You can see Sleepy and Baby Bay quite close there. Sleepy has a trance, so he probably eventually has to drop down to the low ground to obviously use that ultimate to its full effect. But Los Angeles Valiant haven't given San Francisco a reason to do that. They haven't had to dig deep into that Transcendence bucket and pull one out. It was Dak to use himself you can see the Valkyrie in that last fight. It's timed out now. This is good layering and rationing of support ultimates from San Francisco.
San Francisco, you'll have Primal Rage. You know, with the way that Baby Bay has been working towards tack visors, you fully expect to see another tack visor come out. But the Valiant, you use that Transcendence. Kareev, most likely, gets another Valkyrie here. You'll also have your own tack visor. We'll see if they can combo these ults, make them work.
Yeah, theoretically, both tacks are going to get eaten up by a Transcendence, but when the enemy team has to split sort of half and half, high and low ground, you might have opportunities to actually get some damage done there. This is good from Silkthread, not overcommitting, but Soon's gone down. Dunter actually wins that 1v1. That's so big. It can't be overstated the importance of winning that Tracer duel. Silkthread drops to Nomi here, and San Francisco are looking pretty solid on the point. They've lost Baby Bay and Dak now, and Kareev's going to put the numbers back in Los Angeles' favor here. Finding Silkthread with Nomi going down. You can see Dunter desperately trying to get on the point and stall. Nevix is getting shot in the backside by Silkthread on the high ground, who, by the way, has a tactical visor just in case, and that is so big. Using a tactical visor here for Silkthread might be able to secure Los Angeles the win. They just need to get the payload to that orange box, and they'll have won this map.
And that was such great positioning there by Kareev. It's Baby Bay who uses the tack visor, and Kareev is kind of like up top, like flying in the Valkyrie position. He actually just sits in a Winston bubble that Fate puts up top, and he's able to heal the players on the point. Very nice strategy that comes out of the Valiant there.
San Francisco, I've got to go now. You can see how close the payload is to that last point, and already Fate wants to jump up. He has a Primal Rage, so it doesn't matter if he takes some damage earlier on. Kareev gets taken down by Dunter. No mercy in the fight here, but there was no Valkyrie available anyway. It's the front line once again for Los Angeles doing the work. Primal Rage up on the point, the Fist of Fury flying fast and thick, and it's going to be Fate and Envy getting all the kills in that fight. San Francisco are nowhere to be seen, and we have a tied up series. It's 2-2 as Los Angeles bring things back, and it's even Stevens.
You saw some great tank play there from the Los Angeles Valiant. And I thought Silkthread on the 76. May not as explosive as Baby Bay on that hero, but just, the perfectly timed tack visors over and over again really made an impact.
Absolutely, and we can see how important that was, especially in this matchup, like I said, where there's no shock and awe ultimates, maybe outside of the self-destruct, I guess, but none of those DPSs that could just burst you down. So, things like tack visor, that becomes like the new Deadeye in this situation, or the new way to really break these fights open. It's tougher to do with Pulse Bomb because of all the big tanks and the fact that those can be eaten up pretty easily. And we're not too far away from that one. Hey guys, glad you're still with us here. It's been a fantastic day so far, and to have a tied up game here, going to a map 5 between Los Angeles and San Francisco, that's a lot of fun. I just want the Gladiators to get into this mix as well, so we have all of the California teams just slugging at each other across this preseason and in the season once we get there.
And I think if you're the San Francisco Shock, you're extremely happy with your performance in the back-to-back matches today. Our last map will be Lijiang Tower. That'll be the tiebreaker in this series. And I think for the Valiant, you've seen a lot of different combinations that you can make work. I think you're really excited about this support combination with Kareev and Unko.
And again, we're going to continue to see that one pulled out. I don't know if we have any substitutions for this last map. I kind of think we're in a good place right now, but there are opportunities. Our last map of this series is generally, I believe, a control map, and I think in this case, it's going to be Lijiang Tower. So if we ever have a 2-2 in this, what would normally be a 4-map series, we tack another one on just to make sure that we actually get a victor in that particular case. So that's interesting because we've seen things like Lucio and stuff drawn out there. But before we get there, Matt, we're going to go to a break. When we return, it's going to be the tiebreaker of this second series of the day, the Los Angeles Valiant and the San Francisco Shock going out at hammer and tong.